I'm joined now by Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, Democrat from Michigan. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Always good to see you.
Kristen, it's good to see you.
Let's start by talking about the economy. The president noting the fact that the economy is growing, inflation is down. As you know, though, if you look at the polls, and of course there's no polling on today's numbers, but it shows that the economy is still a potential vulnerability for the president. Do you think the White House, do you think the president is doing enough to overcome this issue?
Look, I think it's incumbent upon all of us that we are not doing a good enough job of ourselves giving credit to the president. In my own state, which is a Democratic state with a governor who's one of my best friends, watched too many people take credit for money that came into the state that Joe Biden made sure came here. And I tell this to my colleagues, I tell this to my state legislators, I tell it to my mayors. You need to give credit to where this money came from. And they know it now. Our state legislators aren't going to get reelected if he doesn't do well. So I think we all have to be all in on telling the story of how these investments he's talking about today, how the economy is turning around after he took over this country during the COVID at a terrible time. And it's incumbent on all of us to tell the story.
Congresswoman, as you know, one of the key issues, though, is that voters say they look at the numbers and yet they don't necessarily feel it in their pocketbooks. What is your message to those voters who say, I want to feel like I have more money, like I have more economic security, and why, therefore, should I put this president back in office?
So I think some of the good things we're seeing, let's be one of the first things you feel. When I first got elected, my staff is telling me I shouldn't do this. People didn't, and I'm going back to doing it. I posted the cost of milk, eggs, and Diet Coke, and you know what the price of gasoline is. Well, right now, gasoline prices are going down. People are feeling it less in their pocketbook than they were. So it's going to be people feeling it. I mean, let's be real. You are correct. It's how people feel. But I think what you saw at the end of the fourth quarter is what people are starting to feel. I feel, look, we got a lot of hard work ahead of us. I live in a state that's competitive. But I sense a tad, it depends what the subject is, but on the economy, people are just feeling a little better.
Well, let me follow up with you on that very point, because when I talked to you, it was about a month ago, you told me you were very concerned about the president standing in Michigan. You said part of what you're saying now, which is that he needs to talk more about the economy. Are you feeling as concerned or less concerned than when we spoke about a month ago?
Look, I'm going to be neurotic until Election Day. This is a competitive state. I mean, everybody's focused now on how competitive it is. Donald Trump is going to spend a lot of time here, and so is the president. So is his team. Michigan is, quite frankly, probably the state or one of the states that will determine what the outcome is of this election. So it's a purple state. Sometimes people want to say, oh, it's a blue state. It's not. And I'm going to take it seriously until the polls close Election Day.
Let me ask you about this endorsement. He was endorsed yesterday by the United Auto Workers Union. What do you think the impact of that is going to be on Michigan? And do you wish that endorsement had taken place in Detroit, the headquarters?
No, they had their annual CAP conference. It's when they bring the CAP director, the political coordinators in from around the country. They had a couple thousand people there. We have UAW workers from one coast to the other. And it was, I think maybe you're hearing me just say I'm a tad better. I'm going to be neurotic. I spent 4 days with those UAW workers. And I think the president of the UAW laid it out very clearly. This is about facts. And he talked about what Donald Trump had done and said for the auto industry and what President Biden has done and delivered for the auto industry. The contrast is stark. And I talked to those members. They hadn't thought about it quite the way he had laid it out. Many people tell me they think it was one of the strongest labor endorsements the president's received.
Well, look, I want to follow up with you on something I was just discussing with Gary Grumbach, which is that the president has been interrupted in recent days by protesters. In this case, they were pro-Palestinian protesters. But as you know, protesters go along with campaign events. It's part of our politics. The White House is apparently devising a plan to try to deal with protesters at events to try to make sure that his message is heard. My question for you is, do you think that's the right way to address this? Are you concerned that his message is getting drowned out? And does this suggest that the president might need to shift his policy when it comes to the Middle East crisis?
So you're asking me a lot of different questions there, Kristen. I mean, he is going to have to address, I mean, I've been clear about that. In my home state, Gaza and Palestine are very serious issues. I've had, I mean, people died. People are connected to both sides. What Hamas did was terrible, but more than 30,000 people have died in Gaza now. I've spent actually most of my day with people in that community again, and they're upset, and he is going to have to talk to them. That's a reality. So it's going to be one of the issues. But you know what? This would also tell you is compare the facts. Remember that Donald Trump said he wanted to ban Muslims. He has done nothing with this community. And quite frankly, I'm scared to death of what could happen in foreign affairs if he was going to be elected. Look, I'm somebody who has the far right, and the pro-Palestinians I've called for a ceasefire, and they protest me. I've been docked 6 times. We have to learn how to deal with it. We have to make sure that we are talking to them, that they're hearing and listening to us, but still talking about that overall message about why they will be the better president or the better candidate, period.
Do you think President Biden should go so far as to call for a ceasefire? Does he risk losing Michigan if he doesn't, Congresswoman?
Look, I'm not going to negotiate his foreign policy, but we all need to show there are people hurting on both sides. But when we have lost 12,000 children in Gaza. He himself says he's for a 2-state solution. Netanyahu is not saying that. I mean, we've got to deal with this, and we've got to deal with it soon. I know it's complicated. I know it's not simple, but we're seeing too many people are dying.
Yeah. Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, thank you. I always appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.